Hello, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I make stickers and prints at home. I'm going to be showing you the techniques I use, what I do to prevent errors, and also what printer I use and other materials like that. And just for a little bit of background on myself, I'm Esmeralda Figueroa. I'm a small business owner and artist. I officially registered my small business as an official business as an LLC last year. So not like that's important, but anyways, let's just get I mean, it is important, but anyways, let's just get into the video because that's why you're here. So the first thing I want to talk about is the printer itself and also the cutting machine I use. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that if you don't take care of your printer, or if you don't monthly clean it or do like a checkup on it per se, it's not going to print exactly how you want and you're not going to get the results that you want. I highly suggest doing a print head alignment and also cleaning the print head. And there's usually settings for this in every single printer. And what these settings do is that it makes sure your printer prints cleanly, it prints where it needs to print, and doesn't mess up where the ink goes on your paper. And another thing that I would highly suggest, just as I'm doing here in the video, I always make sure to clean the area where the ink is put into. I usually get a Q-tip or like a little wet paper towel, wet it with a little bit of water, and just clean all that messy area with ink, because sometimes dried up ink that stays where the cartridges sit in, sometimes it dries up and it can clog how the ink flows into the printer. So it's just really important to make sure that your printer is not only clean, but is also working well. So after I make sure that my printer is clean, it prints well, I did all the tests, I make sure that I have high quality photos to print. I don't have a scanner. I know many people use a scanner to scan their artworks to print it. I used to have one, but I don't have one anymore. Phones work just as fine as a scanner, but you have to take pictures in natural sunlight, and that's what I'm doing here. I have had no issues taking pictures and then printing them, but because of this, sometimes colors may be a little bit off, so I might need to saturate the picture if it's dull, or put up the contrast in a photo to then print it to my liking. But I have never had issues with just taking a picture of my art and then printing it. Depending on the paper that I use also depends on the printing setting. I usually get the same brand paper as the printer, so it just makes my life easier into choosing what type of paper setting to choose from when printing. I use presentation paper, ultra premium presentation paper, so when printing I choose the setting for that type of paper. I usually don't do high quality. Like, there's a setting, I believe, that it says print in highest quality. I don't do that because this printer is made for printing high quality prints. So whenever I print it, unlike the regular settings, it does my art justice. I've never had problems with it. I will go over a bit more on printing settings for stickers later on in this video. So after I'm done printing out all my artworks, I usually print out a few on one piece of paper because I don't want to waste the paper. And after I'm done with that, I then cut it. I used to cut prints by hand, but it was just too much of a hassle, so I got myself this nifty little cutting board. I want to say I will list everything that I use in the description, especially because I'm not sure with the names, but also to help you if you are interested in making your own prints and stickers. But yeah, after printing and cutting, that's it. That's all I do with my prints. I sign it on the back and put the date, and yeah, everything's pretty straightforward with printing. The most complicated part, I feel, is with stickers. I've had so many trial and errors with stickers and silhouette and all that stuff. So now we're gonna go into the sticker section of this video. So first off, 99.9 of the stickers I use, make. So 99.9% of the stickers I make, I do with digital drawing. I do have a snazzy drawing tablet, but do not let that fool you. A lot of my best sellers are actually stickers I have designed on my phone years ago. I highly suggest, if you do want to make digital drawings on your phone or on your tablet, I highly suggest Ibis Paint X. This is not sponsored. I just love their drawing software and it makes my life so much easier, and it has so many tools for artists that draw not only on the phone but also on bigger devices. But as of currently, I usually use my XP pen drawing tablet. I'm pretty sure it's the Innovator 16. I haven't had any issues with it, but with every drawing tablet, make sure that it is up to date on the latest hard drive, because before drawing this, I realized, why is my tablet not working? It's because it was not up to date on the latest hard drive. And another thing you have to consider with digital drawings, the way that you see it on the screen, it's not gonna look like that when you print it half the time, so you have to really mess with the contrast of the drawing or what colors you want to use for your drawing. And I feel like it also depends on the detail. It also depends how detailed your drawing is. The more details you have, it might be a little bit hard for the printer to pick up every single specific color, so just be mindful of that. Once I am done with drawing digitally, I save the drawing as a PDF, and from there, I start with the printing process. I'm showing on the screen the settings that I use for the stickers. I usually put multiple photos of the same drawing on one paper. One photo is usually the original, and if I add more to that same page, it's usually a file that I might have upped the contrast on or saturation, just to see which drawing I prefer. Once I print the stickers and I see that I like how it looks, I move into the Silhouette Studio software, and this is where I'm going to print the official stickers so my Silhouette machine can cut them into stickers. Okay, so now onto Cilio. Okay, so now sticker printing stuff. So there's a lot to talk about this wonderful but yet deadly software and cutting machine of stickers, or whatever you want to call it. So let me run through what I do. So the first thing I do, I insert the file of the drawing that I want to make into a sticker. It's on the top left corner. Choose the file, you insert it. I then go to the page setup, which is on the right side. It's like the first little icon that looks like a paper. So in this setting, you're gonna find the page setup. You're gonna choose what machine you have, the cutting mat size that you have, and the media size, which is basically what is the size of the paper that you're going to be printing on. Once you have all of that filled in, the most important thing, which I'm going to talk about now, is the registration marks. Which, if you have seen videos before, the registration marks are just these black lines. Allows the machine to read the paper, and that allows the machine to cut out where it needs to cut. It basically gives the machine the information it needs to cut out the sticker. So I turn my registration marks on, and I usually put the length of the registration marks all the way. Same with the thickness, and I don't want the registration marks so far out on the page because sometimes the machine doesn't pick up the reading, because sometimes when printing, the printer might shift the design a little bit to the right or to the left, so just like to cause less problems. So for the inset, I basically play around with how far or how close I want the registration marks in or out of the page. Now that the page setup is complete, I usually zoom in and make sure there is no miscuts that are going to happen. So this red line around the design basically means that's where the silhouette is going to cut. You just want to make sure there's no red lines inside your design unless you put it there manually. But for me, if I ever see a red line or circles or something inside here that it says it's going to cut, I delete it. And it would usually show up with these little dots. You can double click your artwork, and it'll show you exactly where the pinpoints are, like where it's gonna cut. So if you were to double click your design and you see any of these dots inside here, you would probably want to take that out and remove it. But if you double click it again, it just shows you how big your artwork is gonna be, inches, length, and height. And then, yeah, that's basically it. After we have all of this figured out and we got all these settings in the right places, you can now duplicate your sticker design. And the way that I do this pretty fast is by opening the replicate panel. It's on the right side of the screen. It kind of looks like a star. And with this replicate panel, you can duplicate your design to the right, to the left. You can also fill in the page. There's an option for that. I usually don't do that because I want to place around where I want my stickers, but that is just my preference. Also, when designing your page, you want to make sure your drawings are far away from that checkered area and from those red lines, because if it's outside of that area, the silhouette is not going to cut it properly and it's just going to mess up the entire thing. Once I have the stickers where I want them to be, I then go to File again, which is on the top left. I go all the way down to Print Page Setup, and this is where you have to double check the sizing of the paper you're printing on, the source, and whether your design is going to be portrait or landscape. So basically upright, or is it going to be laying down? I open the File panel once again, and then I press Print. So for me, I have a Windows laptop, and I'm not sure exactly why. When you preview the sticker sheet, it's gonna look like this, and then you can press print once again, but for me, this weird loading screen pops up, and it doesn't do anything. It's not what I use to print. So I close it out, and then this little thing right here, this is where I have my print settings, and then from here it actually prints. Not sure why Silhouette does this, it's just super confusing. But from here, I press the printer I'm going to use. I then go to Preferences, and then I choose the quality I want. I choose if I want it in color. I also choose the type of paper it is. And for stickers, I always pick Presentation Paper Matte. It's just a setting that comes up with my Epson printer. I use that because the quality when printing is really well when I pick that setting. Once all of that is double checked and I make sure nothing's wrong, I click OK. Then this window is going to close, and then this window that was shown here initially, I press print. Once we have all of that printed, what I do to make my stickers waterproof is I laminate it with vinyl. The vinyl is a little tricky to figure out at first. I usually apply it by hand. I don't have a fancy laminating machine. I know some people do, I don't, so I do it by hand. I'm not sure how to explain it, but here I'm showing you how I do it. I usually lift up one part of the lamination sheet, and I always make sure to not cover the registration marks, because if you do cover the black registration marks with the shiny vinyl, the Silhouette machine is not going to read your sticker cutting, and it's not gonna know how to cut anything. So just keep that in mind. Once all of that is done, I tape the page onto the mat that the Silhouette machine comes with. It's a mat you insert into the machine, and make sure when inserting the mat with the paper on top, you have to align it just right into the machine. There's like 3 lines on the left side that you have to align the mat with perfectly. When cutting vinyl and sticker paper, there are cut settings that you can mess around with. Depending on how long you've used your machine, or if you just got it, you will have to play around with the cut settings. This is just the settings that I use, like the number of depth or speed or whatever. I'm not an expert at this, but I will show you here the settings that I use for when I do vinyl stickers. I did do a previous video showing what settings I use for paper stickers or for sticker sheets. You're more than welcome to check out that video, because there is a difference in cutting settings when you're doing just paper stickers, sticker sheets, and then waterproof stickers with the vinyl that I'm doing now. Every single cut isn't going to be perfect, so it does take a lot of trial and error. And learning new things takes time, so if something goes wrong, or if you're just frustrated, you don't know what to do, just taking a break is good, or doing more research. I have had this machine for years, and it's still a learning experience for me. But from what I have learned, I wanted to share it with you all, and I hope this video helps in some way or is informative. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to comment down below, and I will reply. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to see more tutorial videos, I'd be more than welcome to do more. And if you're new to my channel, I do a lot of drawing videos, painting videos, vlogs, and you can see all those videos on my channel. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? Goodbye. Bye, see you later. You guys want to see something funny? I literally am like 99% done with the drawing. I literally sat down today. I got the whole thing done in like 24 hours. Pretty much. I only have the highlights left and like rendering to make the teacup pop. But yeah. It is important to have thoroughly, like, I want to say written, but it's drawn. That's what I'm trying to say. It's important to have really it's important to have thoroughly drawn your ideas exactly how you want it. I improvise a lot, and actually a lot of the best paintings I have, I just improvise, but that's just how I work. A lot of people are like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I do it either. I do it with the Lord. There's no explanation. Because if you were to see the sketch of this piece, I know this is not what this video is about. You can skip to where you want to watch if you want. Look. To what this sketch looked like versus what this looks like right now, it is completely different. It's literally two different things. We're gonna skip to the future, to future Esme, and she'll show you how we do the printing. Because by the time I actually finish this in real time, it'll take probably 2 more days. No, it'll probably take like 10 minutes. Realistically, I can finish illustrations in like, I want to say a day, because I draw really fast. I'm just talking to myself at this point.